Hey everybody, if you are enjoying our Unglamorous Truths, then head over to Apple and Spotify and leave us a 5-star review. It is one of the best ways for new people to come and join the party. So please like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and enjoy this episode.
Welcome back to Unglamorous Truths, a comedy podcast about making it in the industry come hell or high water. I'm Crystal.
I'm Amebbit.
I'm Chandra.
And today we have a very special guest. She's a woman of many hats.
Literally.
Pun intended. She is a model, an actress, a podcast host, an athlete, a speaker, and an entrepreneur. She has shot national print campaigns for Makeup Forever, Ulta, Hydrofacial, and soon after transitioned and added acting and landed national commercials with Dunkin' Donuts and The Rock, with Zoa Energy, and Gold Bond, in addition to acting in movies like Shaft. And in between, she started a hat company called Tress, which I'm rocking right now. What's up? Tress for Us, for curly girls, which will be expanding into Nordstrom's this year.
Hey.
And her top-rated podcast, Girl, We Got This, is her heart work and her safe space to give a voice to the voiceless. So, I mean, she really does it all. Welcome, Laticia Rolle, ladies and gentlemen. She's in the building.
Thank you for joining
us.
I appreciate you.
Literally just your bio.
It is. It's kind of wild when you sit there and let somebody tell you
How great
everything
you
that
are.
you've
Yeah.
accomplished
Yes.
or doing. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
It puts in perspective. You're like, wow, I really am doing something.
Making an
It's
impact.
true.
It's so crazy. We've said that before. We're like, if a friend read you your bio, how would you feel about it? And it's like, I mean, you doing it.
Yes.
You're doing it. Actually, I feel like personally, you really inspire me to be boldly a multifaceted woman, and you juggle things, and we'll get into it, but so effortlessly. Only from the outside, it looks like it, but I'm sure there's more to it. So, but yeah, before we get into you, let's start with a kickoff question today. So my question today is, what's a live performance that y'all have seen that has been life-changing? And if you don't have a live performance, it could just be any performance that you've seen that moved you so much. So you're like, wow, I'm different now. Yeah. So I'll start. For me, you know, there's been a lot of press about The Color Purple right now, and I realized it took me back to when I saw this live show on Broadway, when I saw The Color Purple and Cynthia Erivo starred in it. And I'm so grateful. I had an afternoon off in New York City, and I was like, oh, let me do that TKTS thing. And when you get the cheap tickets that same day, it's like if you can pull up that day and get it's like a plug. Yeah, so I was like, let me do that. And I happened to get that. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And when I say that she was the most, like, profound performer I've ever experienced in my life, and, like, the way that her voice just carried the entire room to a different, like, everyone left different. With that last song, I'm Here, in The Color Purple. So, like, I would say that. She's back. She's back in my favorite singers. I forgot about her for a little minute, but
Okay, shout out
back.
Cynthia.
Yeah.
This question has been so hard for me. I've been pondering it. I was going through, like, Broadway,
Girl, all the questions are hard for you. You're an overthinker.
Well, drag me at 10 a.m. Why don't you? But I will have to say it was a Corinne Bailey Rae concert that I saw many, many moons ago. It was the album that came out after her husband had passed. And she made an album, like, and she dedicated it, I believe, to, like, his family or, like, his brother. And it was this intimate theater, like, dinner theater in New York. Like, you're dining, but then there's this little stage where Corinne Bailey Rae blessed us with her presence. And in between each song, she explained, like, where she was, what this meant to her, why she wrote it. And it was so vulnerable and sentimental. I'm sitting there eating and crying. Like, I'm like, girl, like, wow, this is so powerful. And I think it was probably one of, like, the earliest, like, displays of, like, vulnerable art for me. It wasn't just like, it's just a song, this is a hit. And she really dug in between each track of, like, so guys, like, this was, like, kind of my inspiration. And, like, what? She didn't even cry. I'm like, I'm crying for you, girl.
Wow.
She processed it.
Yeah, of
She's like, I want to share it.
Yeah.
Ooh, I know you was crying too, because girl, you
I
be
really
crying.
was.
I know you was standing there.
And eating. I know, crying to eating. Yeah.
Oh, so dramatic. Oh, good for you. Well, mine is everybody put 3 fingers in the sky. Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar at SOB.
That's a close second.
Yeah, that was probably. I mean, Still to this day, to me, one of the greatest concerts of my life. It was same intimate experience, but just. I remember being possessed by that man. Possessed. When that man said everybody put 3 fingers in the whole room. Everything he said to do, we did. It's so aggressively. Like, I just... I think possessed is the only word for it. It's like completely.
What a night.
I think we said we all went, and I think we said at the end. I remember I said I was like I feel like I just watched Tupac or something, and it was epic.
It was God body.
Like, it was so early in his career, you know.
It was
we were
such
like
an
still
80s
underground.
the mixtape.
We're like, we are hit, we know.
Yeah.
You were with it.
That I remember watching that, and I was like, that's it. Whatever it is, that is it. Ooh, still gives me the.
I would have to say the last concert I went to, Beyonce's Renaissance.
Yes, girl.
I remember I'm in that stage where, our mid-30s, everybody got babies, everybody doing the things. And I've been having this idea of like, can I be a mother and still be a fully embodied entrepreneur, artist? And it's been like playing in my head sometimes because I really like my life and I love creating. And I have a fear of if I do have children, I won't be able to be my full other parts of that make me me. And when I saw that show and I saw Beyonce be so powerful and embodied and had her baby sitting right there next to her, I was like, oh, I can do this. I can have my baby right there with me. I can do it. And she's just such an embodied ass woman. Like, I'm always in awe of her artistry, her power.
Yes.
The way she just walks onto the stage.
Yeah.
You feel her. Like and then you see the crowds. You see the people. You see the allure. You see like, that woman is like the feminine embodied on every level. And when I saw her with Blue Ivy, I was like, oh, I can do this. I want a baby now.
My bloodline.
She does it because I was tired leaving that show and I was standing in one place.
Look,
Okay. Yeah, and I saw it twice in the same weekend. By the end, I was like, all right.
Run ragged, huh?
Yeah, I was tired. My feet hurt so bad. My feet hurt for days.
My voice was messed up.
And to think she had 50 plus stops on that tour. I thought it was 26. And then I watched the interview with her main dancer the other day. And she was like, oh, yeah, no, we had like 52 to 56 stops. I was like, oh.
And then for her to say on that documentary, the shows wasn't even the hardest part. It was being a mom after.
Yes.
That always was to me. I'm like, she gonna go home. She tired, and somebody gonna be like, "Can you play with me?" And she gonna be like,
"We didn't ask you to be a pop star.
Literally,
we didn't ask you to be the queen of the world.
Right.
You want to play Transformers? Fine.
My Rubik's Cube." No, anyway, but yeah, I mean, she's the epitome of definitely wearing many hats as well. So let's talk about you wearing many hats. So you make hats, you make many other things, you create constantly, and my question for you is: do you enjoy change? Like, because I feel like you change quickly.
Yes.
Is that an Aquarius thing?
I was about to just ask, are you an Aquarius?
I am an Aquarius. I am an Aquarius. For me, it's like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. But change isn't always easy for me.
Okay.
I may appear as it's easy because that's what we do. We're very aloof. We're very detached because I can move, baby.
Yeah.
But I'm at a point in my life where it's like, you got to adjust. And behind the scenes, like internally, there's a lot happening.
Yes.
So I think for me, change is beautiful because I know I'm growing in that change. I know I'm becoming who I'm supposed to be becoming in that change. Whenever I'm feeling like, oof, I have to remind myself, like, but you're growing. Like, keep going. Like, you're evolving. Like, that's a part of it. Because I don't ever want to be, I don't even want to say mediocre. I don't want to be stagnant in my life. I always want to feel like I'm growing. So that's very important to me.
Gosh.
And you make it look so effortless because change for me has always been so violent because I have resisted it so fiercely. It's like, no, we're not. And life and God is like, but yes, we are.
Yes. Facts. That's the era. That's the era that I'm in right now. I feel like God is being real loud with me right now. Real loud and like low key yoking me and being like, But you said you wanted this, so now I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm gonna position you, and you're gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
Rip it off.
And I feel like every time I resist, because I also can resist as well, but every time I resist, I end up getting fired or something bad happens. Because every time, God has told me I was supposed to leave a job, and then I didn't,
and
leave
not
on
listening.
time, I've been fired.
And whatever you was resisting was going to happen anyway.
Yes.
You just made it harder.
Yes.
I made it harder.
Yeah.
So now let's go with the flow.
Yeah.
And the irony is that you knew in your gut that it was time to go.
Yep.
Like we know,
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
But we be like, nah. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see.
I'm really trying to figure out like the difference between violent change and growth, because for me, I've conflated this two. I've said this before on this podcast. Like, I have been scared of change, positive or negative, and that is not helpful. That's the most unhelpful thing in the world, because it's like, if you listen and you understand what it's for your highest good, that's growth. That's not a bad thing.
Yes.
That's actually God being like, I'm opening the doors for you. Do you want it or not?
Yes.
Well, see, that's why I like the word you use, adjust, right?
Yeah.
Adjust. It feels, whether it means the same thing or not is whatever. It feels calmer than change.
Yes.
I'm adjusting. It feels like
Yes.
I'm just turning a little bit this way as opposed to I'm doing a complete 180.
Right.
It's like I'm just
Yeah.
An interview I saw with Lauren London with like her spiritual healer, she had a quote that literally changed me. It was like, I want to flow with the river, not fight with the rocks. And I was like, girl, yes. Yes, because me and them rocks been
Beefing.
for so long.
Jesus. Well, I mean, I want to walk us through a little bit of the hats that you've worn and that you continue to wear. So let's talk about athlete, Laticia. So you were born and raised in Massachusetts.
Yes.
And you actually started off as a basketball collegiate athlete.
Yeah.
You weren't into any of this pretty girl shit.
No,
okay,
at
you were
all.
a tomboy. So
I was a tomboy.
Tell us about Laticia at like 15 and 16.
15-year-old Laticia had shorts down to her knees with the newest Jordans on, no matter what.
Giving
with
Billie Eilish.
the jersey that said T Money on the back. My sister played with me. We played together. She was G Money. I was T Money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
And that was what it was. We had our Jordans on. I think they were patent leather, black and gold. I forget which ones those were. But we were like the Fab Five.
Yes.
Like we ran our little small town. That was my life. Basketball. I ate, drank, slept basketball.
Yeah.
That was it. My dad said, look, we don't got a lot of money. If you want to go to college, you got to get a scholarship. There's 5 of us. They were very young. They were 17 and 18 when they had me. So they did their best. And I was like, oh, I'm not staying in Gardner, Massachusetts. Now, I love Gardner, Massachusetts. That's my home.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing out there for me. And I knew I had to get out. Like, I remember being in school signing my name. Like, I made it. Like, I remember signing my signature. Yeah. I remember just, like, traveling the world in my head during school. And I knew I had to do that by playing basketball. So he refinanced the house, my dad, put us in prep school, private school, and I got a scholarship. So then I started hooping. That was my life. I'm telling you, I would wake up 5 a.m. before school.
Wow.
Hoop. And I wasn't the best. I was really good. My sister, she played like a dude. She was very good. She was just nice. My older sister was that girl. I was more of a little feminine when I played sports. I wasn't there, and I had to work harder to be seen, especially with her. So she was the one, I was the two. I put that work in, though, because I knew I had to. Like we were talking about earlier, like you have to put that work in if you really want something. And because of that time in high school, like I know I can do anything if I put the work in, because I got a scholarship. That's not like where we're from. You don't really get scholarships. You know what I mean? And I got it. And I was like, oh, I know what to do. I know the routine. I know what it takes to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Discipline and dedication.
Yeah.
Period. It was my
Say it
life.
forever. Yeah.
I still sleep in my basketball. I slept. I don't still sleep in my basketball. I still have to hug something to sleep. Because I used to sleep with my ball every night.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I did.
That's so incredible.
Yeah.
So then how did you transition from that, right?
Yes.
That life into modeling? How did modeling find you?
Yes.
What happened?
So my junior year in college, I blew up my knee. I went up for a rebound, my knee, everything.
Okay.
LCL, ACL, MCL.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't go
Wait,
overseas.
sorry. Pause for a second.
Yeah.
Do that shit be hurting it when it happened in the moment?
Yes.
It do.
I passed out.
I feel like on TV athletes like they look hurt, but never as hurt as I feel like I would look.
Girl.
Okay, it really.
Yeah, it's like that weird feeling where you don't know what's going on, but your body's kind of like
Yeah.
in a little trauma.
Yeah.
I remember fainting, and like I woke up with everybody's jersey on me.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Is that a thing?
I don't know what happened to me, but I have fainted a couple times in my life, so it could just be me.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So you blew it out.
I blew it out.
My knee. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, what am I gonna do? I can't go hoop overseas because that was the dream. I wanted to travel and hoop.
Loving basketball.
Yeah, that would have been
bitch.
life.
God said you don't have a different life.
Yeah, I would have been
we
with
gonna
an Italian
travel.
man in Italy hooping.
I'm sure.
I would have been happy.
Yeah.
But it changed. I had to pivot, right? So I was scouted by a woman, Kira, at Ben's talent agency in Tampa, Florida. And I started taking photos.
And you were in Tampa because of school?
Yeah, school.
Okay.
I went to Eckerd College in St. Pete. Small
Okay.
college, private school on the water.
St. Pete's is so beautiful.
So beautiful. It's his own little
white
world.
sand, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I remember when I went to that college campus, I was like, oh, Dad, I'm signing. He was like, the girls' team is not good. I said, I don't care. There's a beach on campus, a beach down the street,
Yeah.
a city up the street the other way. Bye.
Yeah.
That's right.
Bye.
Yeah.
So she found me and she was like, do you want to model? And I was like, yeah, like, let's do it. So then that's how that happened. And she signed me. I booked some jobs there. And then she got me out to Wilhelmina in Miami. And that's when that
It
life
turned
started.
out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was that life like?
Girl, when you young, you 22, 21. I don't know about y'all, but I didn't know the power I had yet as a woman. I was from like a small...
Same. What?
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
know.
you're dumb. You
I
don't
didn't know.
Yeah.
No, like I didn't embrace my natural tech, like my hair. And I remember in college, I realized all the boys started to, like, I would wear my hair curly because it was hot. And I was like, oh, they like this? Like people like this? Because back at home, we straightened our hair. It was a very Caucasian town. And I was like, oh, like I can be me more here. Then when I got to Miami, I was like, oh, I can do anything. As a beautiful woman in Miami,
Talk about it.
22, 21, fresh. And that comes with a lot of sacrifice, and that comes with a lot of scariness too, I'm not going to lie. But it also comes with a lot of privilege. But you got to learn about it, because if you don't learn about it, you can be very green. It can be very dangerous, very fast.
Well, because really, it's your youth, right? Like you don't
Yes.
realize how covetous people are of youth.
Yes.
How powerful youth is.
Yes.
But youth is dangerous because
Yes.
youth is dumb.
Yes.
So
It
it's a
lacks
balance.
discernment.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't know. So we modeling.
And it's Miami.
Miami.
Bless your heart, Miami in
Girl.
the early 20s.
Yes.
We were in, that was when Liv was Liv.
Yeah.
That's when Liv was Liv. Wayne, everybody was
Yeah.
in Liv on Sundays.
Yeah.
I lived
Yes.
at Liv.
I lived at Liv.
Literally, like I would work during the mornings, literally shoot at night. We were at Liv.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the promoters at the promoters table, eating
Yes.
free, eating at these
That
nice
was an era,
restaurants.
okay?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
everything
With the dinner
was
before.
free.
Yes.
Everything.
Before.
Yes.
The food as well. Dinner beforehand.
Yes.
Full dinner, not appetizers.
Yes.
Yep.
And not regular restaurants. These are like 5-star, upscale
And you
restaurants.
just think this is life.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
You get older,
Like,
like,
of course.
Yeah.
Why not taking me out to eat? And I'm just sitting at a table with a bunch of females,
Yes.
a bunch of chicks. Ain't a single man in here but the promoter and his best friend. Just a bunch of chicks.
Yep.
Maybe a few fat rich guys.
and that's when all that world starts. And you realize, like, what is this? What am
Yeah.
I doing?
Yeah.
Modeling was fun. It was an experience. I have a love for creatives. I have a love
Yeah.
for the world that we create,
Yeah.
whether it's on film, whether it's on print, whether it's on sets, whatever set it is. Modeling for me was the first introduction to that world for me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I just got to be myself and
Right.
make cool art with cool people that
Yeah.
have vision.
Yeah.
Cool, I can do this. This is easy. I just got to smile, walk a little bit. You learn. Modeling is an art. It's not easy, but you learn. And then I was like, oh, I can do this. Until your dad called you and be like, oh, you went to college to be pretty? And I was like, bro, I did everything you wanted me to do, right? So I went back to law, actually. I started to interning at some law firms, and I hated my life. I remember I hated my life, and I was like, this is not for me. And then I pivoted again. I went to South Africa for 4 months. I went to New York, and I did that whole circuit.
Modeling.
Mm-hmm,
Got it. Now, Chandra brought up a great point, like dumb is dangerous.
Yes.
So before we move on from this era, because I think this era is
Yes.
fascinating, what are some of the dangers in Miami at that age?
I think it's any major city.
Okay.
I think any major city, being a young, beautiful girl, you don't understand what people are actually wanting of you. You think that they see you for you,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah.
They want a beautiful woman on their arm.
Yeah.
Period. You are the trophy. One of them, I can't put names out there, so I'm gonna protect. But they went and like he tried to like my hair is big and curly. He tried to like run his fingers through my hair.
Trying to see if it was weed.
Yeah, bro.
Really?
You know you can't run your hands through my hair.
Yeah, but that's
so
so
rude.
Right.
It's so rude.
I had somebody do
like,
it to me, and it
"This
was
is
a
some
track.
track."
I was like, "Yeah, it's a track, bitch."
Right.
I don't have no fucking hair, you loser. What the fuck you worried about it for?
It's so audacious.
It is.
Yes.
It's violent.
Yes.
But that's that world. When you're in this
You're an
world
object.
of beauty and luxury, you become an object.
Yes.
A lot of us women are. They do become that in that world. Because you're young. We starting out. We don't got a lot of money unless you sign a Maybelline contract or a Revlon contract. Like, we still waiting to get paid 30, 60, 90 days. You know what I mean? So, like, I get why you see models going different routes because it's hard. It's not easy unless you have support.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to be so discerning. And when you're 20-something, you are not discerning. You trying to make it. We in survival mode.
Period.
Tuh.
Period.
We're in survival mode.
Yes.
I've been there, I've done that, and I ain't never going back to that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you have to just be so aware of who's around you, why, how, what.
Yeah.
Even your girlfriends. I think that was one of my biggest things. I was around a group of women. Yo, I saw some of these girls never paid a bill. They just lived a different life. And I didn't come from, like, I was just like, wow, they don't got to work. They don't, like, I was just like so intrigued by this. I never even knew this world existed.
Yeah.
Right.
Until I went to Miami, and I was like, oh. And I remember I would be like, I'm gonna be with the richest. I'm gonna be with it.
Yeah.
It kind of happened, and it was not the experience I
That you
wanted.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like pretty privilege is a currency that you never worked for, so it's so foreign.
Yeah.
Like,
But then, and what's so crazy is if you start to use it, then age kicks in, and then you don't know what to do when you're no longer that bracket of that exact age that they want. Right? It's like you get older, and it's like, oh, does pretty privilege have an expiration date?
I mean, youthfulness does.
Youthfulness does.
Yeah. But a lot of women are really smart with it. Like, they
Yeah.
know that, like, the clock is ticking. I'm going to make my bag, and I'm going to go start a business.
Yeah, and everybody, everybody prefers people who are attractive. Like, and I mean, there's just been studies about it, period. You'll do better in a job interview.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
it's just, people just prefer, I don't know, I think it's a chemical thing.
Yeah,
Like,
easy on the
something.
eyes.
Yeah. So while I do think, you know, you're going to have a season where you can really get everything. And every year you get older as a woman, you get less and less and less. As a man, you get more and more and more because it's trifling.
Yep.
The way it works. But I do think if you're pretty, you're going to always do better than someone that is not considered technically attractive. Because we know it's all types of ways to be beautiful.
Absolutely.
That's true. There's duality in that. You know what I mean? Because you can be pretty and not be pretty at the same time. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Energy, ugly.
Ugly as hell.
Yeah, quick
Right.
too.
Absolutely.
You feel it.
Run.
At this age, you feel it like this.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
And keep it pushing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's it.
Pushing.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you don't. You'll be around somebody, so you're like, I really don't think I like this girl, but we had fun together. So you get grown, man, what the? As soon as somebody sit down, you're like, you know,
You
I'm
tolerate
good,
so
baby.
much when
Ugly
you're younger.
energy. Yeah.
Everything.
Just, Well, so that was modeling, and then you added a hat. You added acting. When
Yes.
did you realize you loved acting?
So that was actually my first passion. So before my dad made us make that decision, I was in every play. I was in chorus.
Okay.
I played the flute. I played the clarinet. I played the piano. That was my love. I was in Pirates of Penzance. I can still remember like every word to every line. In high school, all my electives were acting classes. But I couldn't do both. I couldn't hoop 24/7 and then do all, like, I couldn't do everything.
Got you.
And I knew I had to get out. So again, survival mode, I would put that on the back shelf. That'll come when it comes. And to be 100, I was tired of being skinny. Like, I'm not a naturally skinny person. I have an athletic shape. And during that time when I was modeling, it's changed so much now, and it's so dope to be in this industry now where there's so many different bodies that are embraced and celebrated. But back then it was skinny.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, and I'm only 5'7". You know, I had to wear the tallest heel. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot of work.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I remember when I got back to Atlanta, that's when Atlanta started to boom. And I had a coach come to me, and she was like, why don't you start acting? And I was like, I would love to act. And I shared my stories of when I was growing up, all the plays I was in, chorus. And she was like, I'll help you. And I just started getting into classes. And I started to understand me.
Yeah.
Who I was. And I was like, oh, this fills me up.
Yeah.
So much more than any other art I was doing at the time.
And how was that different than like modeling, which is obviously more external,
Yes.
right? And then acting, the tools are usually internal. How did that feel for you?
Complete, like 180. Complete 180. It was night and day. Modeling is like for me, I feel like it's a very thirsty industry. I think it's a very thirsty because there's so many beautiful women. It's like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. It's not easy. There's beautiful people everywhere, every corner of this world.
Yeah.
And you're competing against the most beautiful people every day. Like, you have to be really like, to get that. With acting, you have to be you.
Oh, I love that.
You don't have to be nobody else, but you have to find you. So I was in that space of my life where I was like, I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know, like, what I felt internally because I was just this, right? Like, that was it. In a lot of aspects of my life, it was just what I appeared to be.
Right.
I don't think people saw me for what I was. And that's okay because I wasn't there either, right? So it was up to me. It was my responsibility to go to that level and be like,
show them.
Yeah, like I got a lot of shit inside of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what acting opened up so much inside of me. It was night and day.
I think that's interesting. Like, I feel like there's a moment in your 20s when, like, you kind of, or maybe not 20s. For some of us, 30s. Like, just like decide to start to self-determine and be like, all right, from here on out, like, I'm realizing that I need to start having a say in this. Like, I need to start really making a choice about who I am and not just like what other people see or even, like you said, me not knowing myself.
Yes.
Girl, literally about 2 weeks ago, I said to myself, I said, you're the only person who doesn't take yourself seriously.
Oh wait,
You were
that's
the only
mean.
No.
I get that.
It was
that.
important.
Yeah.
It was important because it was like, you keep waiting for somebody else to fill you. You keep waiting for all these other things to gas you and tell you who you are. And it's like, no, everybody else is there, baby. You're the only one not there. So all you have to do is very simple. All you have to do, take yourself seriously.
Yes.
That's it. It's so easy.
Yes.
At least for me, because I'm at this age and so much other work has been done.
Yes.
But no, it did not.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I don't know, it didn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Holding yourself accountable.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And like, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. We don't got time to be waiting for this other stuff. Everything else is there.
Yes.
All you have to do is just like
You take it.
Make the choice.
Yes.
You take it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that
That's
for
beautiful.
you.
No, because you be beating your own ass, so I gotta be like, and me too. And me too sometimes.
I know, she got to check on me. You got to check on me.
So it's like,
You know,
nobody
I
say
didn't-
nothing
I didn't-
nasty to me, nastier than what I can say to me.
I know. I didn't cry after. That's always my gauge. I didn't cry. So.
Didn't flagellate
And I'm
myself.
a crier, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Absolutely.
I felt good. I felt good after. I felt empowered. I felt like, all right.
Yeah,
That's
something
powerful.
Yeah.
And that just what just happened is what is needed within friendships. I was just talking to somebody about this. I was like, there's gifts in women and it's sisterhood, but it's that like skirt that because that's love.
Yes.
And like you see her, she sees like and that this podcast specifically, I think this Unglamorous, what you guys have created.
Yeah.
Whenever I see it or I watch it, I'm like, oh, they love each other. Like that's sisterhood, like that's womanhood, and you can see it. And just in that moment, I was like, that was sweet.
I have an interesting question for all y'all. So, life can surprise us, right? Like we can have a predetermined destination of where we're going, how it's going to work, and then life happens, and it's like, oh, haha, psych. So, joke's on you. Okay. And so, my question to y'all, and this is for anybody, like, was there a moment in your 20s where you were like, life came in and truly surprised you? It doesn't have to be negative. It could be positive. Just like something where you were like, oh, this is taking me off course, you thought. But maybe now you can be like, oh, maybe that wasn't off course. That was just something I needed to take care of.
I became a fully not fully, but domesticated, married.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
my whole
Yes.
plan for myself. I did not, it was like a fall into. I did not see this really for myself. I thought I was going to be, like a bachelorette for my whole life, and I was just going to be traveling around, having booze in different countries. You know, I thought I was going to be in the streets. I was like, the dating, I was not a girl who had boyfriends in high school. I was not a girl who had boyfriends in college. You know, it just was not, it didn't seem to be my focus. You know, I was like, I don't think that's really for me.
Yeah.
That type of companionship. You know, I'm like it's like, I have my friends, and that, you know, felt like a more sensible relationship. But, I mean, here we are. Here we are.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Like, for me, it was not the greatest discovery, but in my 20s, like, I realized, I actually haven't shared this on the podcast, but my mom, you know, she struggles with mental illness. And it was in my 20s when I realized I would have to really stop and figure that out. And so young, like 20s, like mid 20s. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I have to figure this out. Like, it's me and my grandma figuring this out, right? And I'm lucky I had a mentor at the time, a spiritual mentor. And she was like, Crystal, sometimes, you know, the way they say about greatness, sometimes life is thrust upon you. This is one of those moments. And, like, you can't avoid this. You got to see it through. And it is on you. And that's unfair, but we're not dwelling in that. Like, you need to take care of this. And it weighed on me. It was a huge part of my 20s to the point where I didn't feel comfortable coming to LA until she was situated. You know, I realized that I needed to make sure she had someone she was living with. That she had proper housing, secure housing. Like, I was coming down from New York a lot of weekends to make sure that she found a new place to live with my grandma. Like, it's the sort of thing that people usually deal with when their parents get older, but I didn't see it coming. And it really changed a lot about my decisions and what I cared about. And, you know, I was just super focused in that way. And I'm grateful for it because it gave me the confidence to know that I can handle very hard things. And it also put things in perspective. Like, I wasn't like, okay, like, yes, obviously the career, I want it. And I wish, I was like, damn, I wish I could have made certain moves in a different way. But life took me here. And it needed to be done. And only seeing it through is one of the things I'm most proud of. Because I'm like, my mommy's doing pretty good right now. Like, she's in a much better place. So, like, yeah, sometimes, like, a pause or a stop is needed. And it's not the end of everything, but you do need to handle it. So, yeah.
Wow.
Good daughter karma.
Yeah.
Good.
I would say that in my 20s, I lacked a lot of self-awareness that allowed me to persevere in a positive way. It was always just like, you know, it's not me, it's you. And that allowed me to push forward and focus on what was really important to me, which was my career. And, like, dating was not a priority by any means. I always said, like, I want to, you know, experience life. I want to live my 20s, and my 30s is when things will come together in the love department. And it was 30 is when everything fell apart. Like, countless times in my closet against the wall crying, like dramatic, sliding down the wall, like I don't like myself, what's going on, and really had to unpack a lot of things that, like, I had just kind of hid away in my 20s because it's like, I don't really have the tools to deal with this, and, like, I need to make money, I need to push myself forward, I need to survive. I don't have time for this therapy shit. And then I realized, no, but girl, you need to make the time. Yes. You need to get to know yourself. Yeah. To really get to where you want to be or where God wants you to be. And it was a lot of letting go because I was such a resistor. I had to let go. So, I mean, yeah, like my 20s, I mean, I loved them for what it was. It was a good time. It was a good time. I had a great time. Absolutely. I really had a great time, and I'll take that away. And I think I actually did, like, I got what I wanted. I said I wanted a fun time, and I had that. When 30s hit, I wanted it to kind of fall into place when I wanted it to fall into place. And it didn't. It was years of, like, working on myself. Right. But I do feel like I'm finally into that season of like, this was the dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's that Saturn return, baby.
Yes.
That's
So,
that 30. That was the same for me.
Yeah. Let the people know if they don't know what that is. What's Saturn return?
You better at it than me.
Okay. I got you. So 27 to 30 is when life will hit you in the face. Literally, it's in the cosmos. It'll be like, bitch, start to look, and people resist, and some people don't accept the challenge. But also, I'm so grateful I had a friend that told me about this. My friend Roxy was like, because she's older, she's like 3 years older. She was like, baby, get ready. I was like 27. She was like, it's coming. She was like, this is the Saturn returns. Someone told me, but I didn't know. I was in the middle of it, and I didn't know why everything was like terrible,
crashing and burning,
destroying,
yes.
like just everything. And she was like, so I'm going to tell you so you know what's going on. Life's about to hit you in the face, and you need to make some decisions, and you need to address yourself. Like,
yes.
if you've been avoiding yourself, you must now address yourself.
Yes.
And it's going to change so much about your decisions.
When I had turned 30, I'll never forget, I lived a different life in my 20s. I didn't have my 20s. I was a woman of many masks. I was acting like I was in my 50s and 40s, closing deals. I was on private jets. I lived a very different life. I didn't have my 20s. And if I knew what I knew now, it would have been very different. But I accept that part of my life, and I'm grateful for that part of my life because I learned so much.
Yeah.
And I learned what I no longer never wanted in my life. I think that was my biggest lesson. And when I had turned 30, I was like, oh, this isn't my life. And I remember my mom, I would tell her, like, Mom, I'm not happy. Like, I was in an unhealthy relationship. And she was like, I was expecting her to be like, okay, do this, do this, do this. She was like, you'll know once you wake up. Like, you'll just know. I'm like, oh, fuck, when am I going to know? And I remember I woke up when I turned 30 and I was like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
This isn't it.
Yep.
But that shit was hard because I had a really, on the outside looking in, it was it.
Yeah.
I had, financially anyway, I was very full, but everything else, I was very empty.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, this ain't my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was hard as
Because
hell.
it's easy. It's hard to realize it, but it can sometimes be easier to realize it than to actually be actionable about it, right?
Yes.
'Cause it's like, okay, this is wrong.
Yes.
But am I really going to sit here and undo everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
To change
In my
is going to require upheaval.
You know,
Like
Upheaval,
Upheaval.
but starting
Yeah.
from zero.
Yeah.
Starting from scratch. Starting from, my resume was my partner.
Yeah.
Period. That's why I said he would make fun of us doing commercials. He'd be like, what you want, SAG money? SAG money ain't real money. And I would be like, oh, okay. You want to work this job? I'll pay you this. And I was like, oh. But I was like, I do want to work that job.
right?
Right.
I do want to do this.
Because it's not about the money.
Yeah. I remember one time I booked Shaft, matter of fact. He went like this. He was so mad. And I remember turning 30. I was like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
That shit was hard. And if I could say one thing, I was really proud of my courage.
Yes.
I was proud of my courage because that shit, it's still hard.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it was the best decision I made.
I'm tell you, girl, because everybody can't walk away from the bag like that.
Oh,
Be
it
like,
ain't-
well, shit, I'm gonna be miserable.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be crying in this Maybach.
Right, because I don't want to be crying in no Toyota with no AC.
Put me in the
I hate that narrative. It's always one or the other. You're always in either a hoopty with no AC or
Hey, let me cry in an Infinity. Okay, that's a good car.
Right.
Hey,
a 2023 Nissan. It's brand new. God.
so it does take courage. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Kudos to you.
Yeah,
Kudos
you got to
you.
choose yourself. If anything in this world, that's all you
Yes.
got at the end of the day is you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then choosing yourself. You
And betting on
obviously-
yourself.
Yeah.
You added another hat. You became CEO.
Yes.
And you started Trust for Us. So
Yes.
what's the mission with that?
So hats was like Trust was my baby. I remember I learned a lot through my relationship about business.
Yeah.
And I always knew I had like this crazy ability in my head. And I think it's from basketball. I can do anything. I can create anything. And I was like, we were always trying to think of the next $1 million idea. Right? It was fun. We were trying to, and I remember he would always rush me to go to places. And I'd be like, bro, I need like 20 minutes. I still need to diffuse my curls. Like, I still need to do all this. He was like, just grab a hat. I said, bro, I can't grab a hat. I don't fit. I got a big head and I got a lot of hair. And I looked at him and I was like, I can't be the only one with this problem. I'm about to make a hat that fits my texture as is. Like, I'm tired of brushing it flat back. I'm tired of straightening it just to wear a damn hat. So that's where it all started. And I started designing it. I started figuring it out. I started reaching out to prototyping companies. I started reaching out to manufacturers. I lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I did not know what the hell I was doing. But I just incorporated things that I learned over time. Like, I was an athlete. I know I needed like an elastic band. I don't like that shit when it's my hair's on the back of my neck. I hate that feeling when I have a hat on. I don't like the sweat on the back of my neck. I satin lining. I had to wear satin lining in my hair all the damn time. I got a big head. I needed to make the head a little bit bigger. I needed a deeper fit. And I was like, okay, you can do this.
Yeah.
And I just did the chorus. So Tress was born out of a need.
Yeah.
And then I was on a job shooting for Diva Curl, this big print campaign. That's when like beauty YouTubers were that girl. Like you'd be seeing them in the streets and you'd be like, oh my God, that's so and so and so. And I met one of them. We were roommates on this trip. And she was like, I showed her the hat. And she's like, I want one. And I was like, huh? And that's how it all started. So I gave it to all my homegirls that were beauty bloggers at the time. And Tress became Tress.
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't got products for our texture. We don't have stuff for our hair. I grew up playing softball I look crazy. The hat would always be on the top of my head with that button with my hair all stuck in it in the back, the snapbacks.
Yes.
I mean, because they're not made with women in mind.
At all.
Period. I mean, it's a
women of color.
traditional.
Yes,
but
especially.
in its essence, it's for sports.
Yeah.
Men play sports. Women don't play sports.
Yep.
You know. So it just was never thought about.
Ever.
And then black women, yes, on
Yes.
top of that, with
The
any type of
curls.
texture.
That's why I love that the satin in it.
Yeah.
Get you a tress. Yeah. And I also want to thank you for your sisterhood in business because you were one of the people that when I was starting How to Pitch TV, I was like, okay, I need to know how you do this business shit. So, you took me, we went on that walk in Santa Monica and you like told me game about comps and setting your prices and like how to even start, like, references, like, oh, these are women that are in a wheelhouse similar to you, like, just start researching, right? And it really did give me confidence. And also, when we decided to start the podcast, we took you out and, Meb and I sat you down and you gave us some game about how to do Unglamorous Truths, because also another hat, you run a podcast. So you have a podcast called Girl, We Got This. And what made you start that?
Because when I left that space in my life, my Saturn return, I was really depressed after. And I would be stuck in bed some days and I would have to get up and be like, I got this. Like, I got this. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I had to psych my brain out and be like, I got this. And then it was women that really had me, women that really got me back up. And then I was like, oh, we got this. Like, girl, we got this.
Yeah.
It's a great title.
Yeah, we got this. We go through a lot of shit. And I always say this, I never met a woman that wasn't strong. I've never met a woman that wasn't strong. But we don't hear our stories often unless we're a celebrity or we got a blue check mark or that thing. But I'm like, we got heroes walking around us in daylight that we don't even know who is who. Yeah. And those are the people that inspire me. Yeah. Those untold stories that are sitting in your grandma's head. You know what I mean? Your aunties. And I'm like, I want to be able to touch them. You know what I mean? I think as a society, we create this idea that celebrity or this luxury or this life is that's the goal. Yeah. It's not it. I've been there, done that. There's no beauty. There's beauty. But for me anyway, there wasn't a lot of joy. There wasn't a lot of real, genuine love or what I desired in my life anyway, right? Success means different things to different people. That didn't mean, that wasn't success to me. So I was like, girl, we got this. I want to talk to dope-ass women, and I want to hear their real, raw stories. Yeah. So that's how that was created, and that shit kept me afloat. That was my first kind of job after leaving that space in my life. And it would get me up every day, and I would be empowered and inspired by these women that would sit across from me, and I'd be like, wow, women blow my mind. Women really, really are it. We just forget. And we live in this patriarchal world, and we're it. You create life. The fuck? You're it. We just forget. Yeah. And I feel like Girl, We Got This is just here to remind you, you got this. We all going through the same thing. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are. We going through a lot of the same shit. It might just look different, but we all doing life. That's my baby. That's my heart. I would do that forever. Yeah.
Oprah.
Yeah.
Your Aquarius twin.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, girl.
That's so true.
And you know, who do you feel like you've become in the process of pursuing your journey in the industry? Maybe something that surprises you about that. Like what, if you look back at everything, and where are you going?
Yeah. I feel like I'm becoming more of me in the industry, whatever that means. You know, I feel like I'm starting to not use titles as much. Because I'm like, we live in a space right now where we title in everything. We title in this. You put in a label on everything. I'm just becoming more of me. Because as I'm getting older, I'm becoming I'm learning me, the depths of me, the goods, the bads, the uglies, the beautiful, like all of it. And being able to be that in front of a camera, being able to portray that, whether it's a commercial, whether it's an audition, that art is like healing. And it has the ability to transmute to the world and change people's lives. So for me, what I'm becoming, I believe I'm just becoming the woman I'm always supposed to be. Everything I create is for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's it. And I don't really need much more.
Yeah.
I learned that in my 20s.
Yes.
All I need is love.
Yeah.
And then everything else I can do.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, becoming more yourself every year and letting like things that are not you drop off, that's fire. That's the goal. So I love that. Well, let's transition to a segment called Bootleg Fabulous, where we share tips and tricks of just how to make it, you know, in different ways, whether that's in the industry or whatever. But today, since we're talking about hats and wearing many hats, my Bootleg Fabulous question is, do you have any life hacks for being a multifaceted individual and wearing all the hats? Like, how do you just make it happen every single day? We wake up and we make it happen.
I think I'm going to say make it happen.
Make it happen.
Make it hot.
I would say don't overthink it. Like we were just talking earlier about the podcast. When we sat down, I'll literally tell you, like, I record mine on a phone.
Yes.
Everyone thinks they got to go out and buy the Roadster, the this, the that, rent a studio. Start with what you got.
Yeah.
It don't got to be perfect. A lot of us think it got to look like this because she doing it like this, or it sound like this, so we got to. No. Especially the time that we live in now, these young people, I love the young generation because they have some raw shit out and it's just raw. They don't want to see you like filtered and all that. No, they want the raw real. And it's so dope. I had a meeting the other day with this girl and she's like, oh, this Instagram I had coming. She's like, it's too perfect. And I was like, oh. She's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Like, it's beautiful. But like, we want to see normal people doing normal things. And I was like, oh, I can do that. But then I had to check myself and be like, oh, so you don't got to wear makeup. You don't got to just be you. So just start with what you got. We'd be overthinking too much
I love
stuff.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say less is more. Because I think sometimes we can get into this habit of thinking like doing everything is going to get us to where we want to go faster. And then if you're not doing everything, you're like, oh, I'm lazy. I'm not. But it's like, actually, if you really simplify and get really specific about what matters, and like that is what's going to propel, like a little bit at a time versus spreading your energy across everything.
Pivot sooner than later. I feel like when you're trying to do a bunch of things, right, you're spreading yourself. You don't have, you have 24 hours in a day. So you can't give 8 over here, 12 over here, 13 over there, you're out of hours. So I feel like it's helpful. The minute you really know in your gut, oh, this isn't working, change. We have to do this differently now.
I would add something that you said, Laticia, essentially just like what you're doing, all the hats are just all a part of you. So it's like, instead of stressing out about, fuck, I got to take this one off and put this one on, and then I need to go in the closet. This is a metaphor. Go in the closet and pick another fancy one, whatever. It's just like, no, it's all you. So, like, you are in control of how you want to move in and out of those various capacities, and you can decide at any given moment. Also, just, like, have some fun. Like, it doesn't have to be as stressful. It's literally if you show up a little less perfect, but just here, and you're just like, we're doing this today. Cool, we're doing this today. But you know what the through line is? It's all me. I don't have to like have an identity crisis about it. It's just they're all little webs leading back to me. So, so yeah. Great. Well, we're gonna wrap there. But thank you for being here, Appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for your light.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
I'm proud of y'all. Y'all doing it. It's here. Unglamorous.
Yes,
I love it.
unglamorous, girl. So that's it for today. I'm Crystal. You can find me at _Chris.
I'm Meb. You can find me at Amebitbayene.
I'm Chandra. You can find me at Chani.
I'm Laticia Rolle. You can find me at Laticia_Rolle.
And we are Unglamorous Truths, and you can find us at Unglamorous Truths on all socials, and you can stream us wherever you find yours.